Whew. I'm in Boise, Idaho. It was like summer and boom, winter. So I'm in a coat now. Anyhow, guys, I'm gonna talk about the Aful Performer 5+2 and what do I think about it. There's no price release yet, but I mean, I've listened to this for a few weeks already, and this sound should not go over 300. That's just me. It could be priced around that, but if it's priced lesser than good, I mean, no way this is gonna be priced over 500, right? So at least I have an idea a little bit on how this will be priced, since I feel like it's an upgrade of the original P5. Maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but probably not over 300. That's what I thought. You can skip the video. Usually, if you're new to the channel, I usually talk about the qualities of the sound, bass, mids, treble, tonality, text, and then I score it, and then I do comparisons at the end. Before I start though, I wanna suggest looking out SoundMeow. Yeah, soundmeow.net. Yeah, this guy here, he's basically compiling every review, and especially reviews with scores. So he's compiling it, getting a general average of the scores, and basically if you search an IM there, you'll have an idea on the different scorings from different reviewers. And I think he also is incorporating like user scores that, you know, they can put in there. It's a very good, I mean, I'm all about, you know, supporting the community, and this one here, this is like on the same level as Squig. Squig is like, you can see graphs. This one here, you can see scores from different reviewers. So sound.net, check it out. It's a very cool site. But yeah, let's talk about the Aful Performer 5+2 here. I don't know why they call it 5+2. They can call it 5+7 or no, 5+7 Performer 7 or something like that. Oh, and if you wanna check how I score IEMs, check this video right here, so you'll have an idea how I score this. Let's start with the tonality. The tonality on the Aful Performer 5, I'm just gonna call it 7. 5+2 is a bit mouthful. So tonality, here is the graph right here. There. So the tonality, it's very, very smooth. It's a little bit bass dominant set, but overall balanced. There is good amount of treble air or treble forwardness. It's smooth. It's very well balanced with a little bit of forwardness in the mids actually. And I'm gonna talk about that later. What is interesting also is it follows a very similar curve to the more expensive model, which is the Cantor. Look at that. However, maybe this tuck here or a lesser bass with the Cantor paired with a little bit of elevation around 6 to 8K gives or makes the tonality completely different, because the Cantor, it's just so forward in the treble, and I don't think that 1 to 2 dB would do that. Yeah, just, you know, letting you know about that. Also, if we look at the original Performer 5 there, it's just a smoother Performer. What they added here is, I think they added 1 BA and 1 microplanar. So I know that there are already IMs with microplanars in there. It adds a little bit of dimension to the treble. A lot of people like it. I like some of, you know, some sets that has microplanar in them, but it really depends on the implementation. So for tonality on this, I'm giving it a 3 because it's good. It's very well balanced, very easy to listen to actually. There's not really a problem with peaks or something, but it's not a perfect IEM, and I have cons for it. I'm gonna talk about that later with my scoring. Bass is, bass for me, it's good. It has, again, a nice balance of sub bass and mid bass, but for me, it lacked a little bit of physical attack. It's too nimble for me, if that makes sense. For sure, their technology, the Aful, the maze technology, I'm pretty sure it's doing a great job on that, but I think it's not a problem of the DD. I think it's the problem with this air here around like the upper treble. It kind of like brightens up the bass attack, if that makes sense. So it makes it too quick. Decay is too quick. It's weird because it's there, but it's light in attack. So for me, it lacked the macro dynamics that, you know, I prefer. But I don't know, maybe a lot of people would prefer this kind of bass. It's not really, like, it's not something that I love. So bass, I'm giving it 2 2.5. Moving on to the mids, natural instruments, good vocal rendition, very forward vocals actually. And it's actually because of this one here, it doesn't really have like a peak on the gain. It has a tamer gain, which makes vocals forward sounding. Say for example, I was listening to Carpenter's, what was it, like Touch Me When We Were Dancing. Her vocals was really upfront, and I thought it was nice, you know. It's nice to listen to vocals that are intimate sounding. So instruments also sounded good, natural, but it lacked a little bit of edginess because again, it doesn't have a peak around 2.5 to 3K. But still, I'm giving the mids a 3. I like it because I love vocals. Moving on to the treble. Treble on this is, they're smooth, but it feels like because of the microplanar, the timbre is a little bit delicate sounding, if that makes sense. It's almost brittle. Cymbals can sometimes sound a little bit sandy or grainy, if that makes sense. They're not peaky in any way. They're not really forward, but the treble, I mean, it has an advantage. It makes the overall presentation airy, but it takes a toll on cymbal timbre, which is I'm very particular of. It's not really that bad. Maybe it's its own flavor. Yeah, man. What do I do? Yeah, it's maybe I'm giving the treble just a 2. I mean, I just changed it now. I scored it 2.5, but thinking of it, I'm just gonna give it probably a 2 because of that. Because a lot of IEMs are doing good treble, even like under 200 or even like under 100. So treble for this, I mean, again, it has an advantage. A microplanar is giving it air, but for me, it's breaking it. This treble's breaking it. Examples for that, you know, like Sad But True by Metallica, like the intro and the cymbals, it's just a little bit grainy and sandy. Every Woman in the World as well by Air Supply. Cymbals for me, they were like, they're not piercing in any way. It's just that the timbre and cymbals is a little bit too artificial sounding for me. So probably you can call it a BA timbre, but this time it's not a BA, it's a microplanar. So yeah, moving on to the text. They're good. There's good imaging, good separation. I think it's really better than the P5 in terms of, because for the P5 I felt like just 2D presentation. There's not much, a lot of 3D space going on. I think the Performer 7, they did a great job on giving that space and adding a little bit of air. But then again, the presentation can be a little bit intimate sounding because the vocals are really forward. I would have liked it to have a little bit of space, you know, the vocals and you, like kind of like space, because like the vocals are like, hey, and a little bit of center imaging. And I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the tame area here. And what I did actually is I just, you know, did a normal EQ, maybe targeting 2500. Gain is you can choose maybe 2 or 3, and then for the Q maybe 1.5, and then you get a little nice peak in there around 2.5. What this does is it kind of like gives a little more distance to the vocalist, and it also gives a little bit of shoutiness. Why do I like shout? It's not about like I like shout. I talk about Yorushika, Swiss. They released a new song maybe a month ago or 2 months ago. It's called Yu San San. During the chorus, she sings in a high note there. Not this. This the pre-chorus. After like the bell. Oh, that's pretty high, man. That's like, I know, E5 or D sharp 5. It's pretty high. I mean, if you're familiar with vocal pitch, it's pretty high. And what I mean by that is when I listen to female vocals, when they belt, I want to feel the power of the belt, you know. It with the Aful Performer 5, I was, say for example, I was listening to maybe Celine Dion's like Power of Love or like All By Myself, you know. And when she belts, it's like you're just, you know what I mean? But with a proper peak like that, it's not really like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's different for you, but I like my peak to be a little bit higher so that when they belt, like, oh, and your face is like, you know, you feel the energy of the belt. That's why I like to have a peak right there, and that's what the meta tuning is not doing. I feel like the gain on the meta tuning is pretty safe, and it makes, for me, it just makes the vocals a little bit dull sounding. That's that's about vocals. So yeah, I think the overall score for this is what? It's not A plus. Yeah, because I changed it. 13. It's A. It's good. What can I say? I mean, it's not an S for me, but it's an A. It's an A. So moving on to comparisons. Comparing it to the Performer 5, the OG Performer 5, this is much better because of the bass is tighter. Maybe it's you know, you like a tighter bass, it's airier because it falls under 200 to 250, right? I have 121 to 250 and 251 to 499. If it's priced above 250 to 499, I think maybe it's an A minus. Only because like there are many good options right there to choose from. But if it's like 121 to 250, around that price range, probably it's very competitive. What I have here would be, yeah, say for example with their Explorer. I don't have the Explorer. I actually gave it away to one of their reviewers. Yeah, as you can see there, it has like a similar bass elevation, but with the Explorer has a lesser gain. I like the Explorer more actually, only because of that. Oh, I don't know, it's just so good. But yeah, if you want more forward treble, more airy, then maybe the Performer 7. Oh, the Mega 5P as well. Look at that. It's pretty close to there. You can see that. With the Mega 5P, my concern with that is actually sometimes the treble is not as emphasized, but I'm fine with that because the bass is good, vocal presentation is nice. But as you can see, the Performer 7 is smoother in the presentation. A lot of peaks there for the Mega 5P, and of course it's airier than the Mega 5P. So yeah, they're comparable if you like that. What's interesting though is I felt like, oh my god, this sound is really familiar for me for some reason, and I was like, I can't remember. And then finally I realized, oh yeah, it's actually similar to the Supernova. And I was like, because the Supernova is just very smooth. What I didn't like about that is probably, again, maybe the treble. There was something about the treble too. Like I have the same quirks as this, and I realized, oh my god, it's actually very similar. Look at that. I mean, like maybe a little bit of difference, but still, I can say that the Performer 7 is, I mean, I can say it's a budget Supernova. I mean, you can audition. I can be wrong, but I just think it's a budget Supernova. Maybe the peak and the upper treble is a little bit different. The Supernova is also smooth, but Performer 5+2, I think that's it. I mean, like, give me a comment down below if you want me to compare it to other stuff. Yeah,